Hey guys, thanks for joining us on our lesson on coil spring spacers and the spacer lifts. So Jeremy here is going to help us kind of understand all the different types that we have, because it's not as simple as just getting one little spacer, like spring spacer, and throwing it in your vehicle and being done.
No, I mean, a lot of it plays off of what you want to do with your vehicle, what your vision is for your vehicle. You know, like we were talking about before, if your vehicle has rake or is level, you want to address it differently. You want to pick the spacer that's going to get the stance that you want, and you want to make sure, you know, the vision of your vehicle is done in time. Like if you're going to add a winch, you know, you want to make sure you compensate a little extra in the front for the extra load you're going to add.
Right, for the extra weight.
Yep.
So you may just add some spacers to the front of your vehicle just to bring it up for the extra load. But so, all right, so I just bought my first off-road vehicle.
Yep.
I get it home, and I'm like, oh man, I want some cool wheels and bigger tires.
Yep.
So if that's my main goal, I just want bigger tires on it just to look cool. I don't really plan on doing too much. Kind of where do you start from there?
Yeah,
like
so I mean, you know, you pick a tire size for your vehicle.
Okay.
You can talk directly with manufacturers, or, you know, use E3 as a resource. Spacer kits, coil spring spacers, is going to be your most simple and general form of a basic budget lift.
Okay, and a lot of these you can pretty much, if you're somewhat mechanically inclined, you can kind of do at home in your garage with a friend
absolutely.
and like that. So the basic, we were talking, so the basic of the basic is going to be something like this.
Yep, simple coil spring spacer. You'll find these in many forms. They're in polyurethane or steel. You know, some people even have some billet aluminum ones that you can put in underneath your springs. They simply stack either on the bottom or top of your spring and add a little bit of lift to your vehicle. And each spacer is rated for a certain thickness, and that is your given lift height.
Okay, so I want to go up a couple inches. So this one's, is this one a 2-inch?
That's an inch and a half.
This is an inch and a half. So I want to fit a little bit bigger tire. So
Yep.
simply, this is kind of what I need. I would remove my spring and put this under there, install the spring where this goes, and that's just going to give me that extra height.
That's
right?
it. That's all it's going to do.
Okay, so that could be for the front, for the back, all the way around. Now,
Correct.
some vehicles may actually sit, like you said, a rake. So the front may be lower than the rear, but that's because trucks generally they're compensating to throw a load in the bed.
Correct.
To compensate for that.
Yep.
So you may just want to lift just the front, or you actually may want to go up all the way around.
Correct. And so, you know, you can either, like Kevin said, you can either just put one in the front, or you can put one in the front and rear, and they don't even have to be the same size. Again, you get to choose the height you want and the stance you want. So if you want to go up 2 inches with the front and 1 in the rear, you get to pick based on the spacer thickness that's going underneath the coils.
Okay, and then what? And then leveling kits. So that's pretty much a leveling kit.
A basic leveling kit would be exactly what goes up to make it level for the consumer. And then again, you want to have an idea of what kind of accessory loading you're going to be putting on the vehicle: front bumper, front winch, just to add a little extra compensation for the extra load. And obviously now you know that overlanding is becoming a big thing.
It is.
So there's a lot of people adding a ton of rack loads, tents, all kinds of off-road gear into the back of their vehicle. So sometimes they actually just need to compensate in the rear and not the front.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then we have one other kind of special spacer here. This one incorporates, you were explaining to me about the bowing or something.
Correct.
With the spring. So what happens?
So I mean, like Kevin said, not all coil spring spacers are equal. There are some out there that have extra features built into them. For example, on the JL and the JT, they have coil spring bow. These actually have a coil spring index built into them, so when they sit on the bottom of the axle, they'll actually stand up the coil spring as well. So it serves more of a dual purpose, you know, which also helps with off-road stability, because now your coil is not buckling off-road. You know, it's going to serve much more of a specific design premise than just a basic spacer.
All right. Is there anything else to know about spacers? I mean, they seem pretty straightforward. You just you measure. You want to go up 2 inches.
Exactly.
You get a 2-inch spacer.
Yep.
Right.
And just realize that some spacers are designed to work in conjunction with the factory spring isolator. Some are not. So when you're actually getting the thickness of the spacer that you need to understand that if this takes out the factory isolator and I only have a 2-inch spacer, well, it's not going to necessarily give you 2 inches of full lift because you lost the factory isolator thickness.
Which is like a ½ inch.
Right, typically ½ inch, 5/8 of an inch.
Okay.
And some of them will incorporate back with that factory isolator and give you the nominal lift height.
All right. Oh, one other thing is what they're made out of, right? So you have aluminum, you said. You have, what are these?
Some people use fabricated steel.
Okay.
These are cast polyurethane. You'll see a lot of people use cast polyurethane because it does add vibration isolation to help reduce in-vehicle harmonics.
Okay.
You know, so that's why we tend to use this style product.
So these are all things you got to take into consideration when purchasing it, because if you just go with the solid piece of metal or aluminum, you might get some vibrations or harmonics
Absolutely.
or noises
Yep.
versus having something that's a little bit softer but still durable.
Yep.
All right, now that you know a little bit about leveling kits and spring spacers, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the next component, and that's gonna be the spring that sits on these spacers or in the factory location.